Welcome to the Sense Check Lab, where claims meet scrutiny and trends meet science. Today, we're diving into seed oils. Are they a toxic threat or, a healthy staple? We're focusing on canola, sunflower, and soybean oils, plunging into high-quality research from authentic labs and organizations. No clickbait, no debates, just facts.
Right. So let's start with the basics. What exactly are seed oils? They're essentially fats derived from seeds. Think canola, sunflower, soybean, that kind of thing. And they're packed with different fatty acids, mainly monounsaturated, MUFAs we call them, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, or PUFAs,
Okay.
which include both omega-3, N3, and omega-6, or N-net-6.
And here's, I think, the really crucial distinction we need to make right off the bat. We need to separate the naturally occurring fats from these industrially produced trans fatty acids, ITFAs.
Exactly.
These ITFAs are specifically formed through a process called partial hydrogenation of vegetable oils, PHVOs.
Yeah, that's key. And it's important to understand, while there are some natural trans fats, small amounts in like beef and dairy.
Right, like vaccinic acid.
But it's the ITFAs, especially things like ellatic acid, that are the primary concern here. These can make up a huge percentage, sometimes up to 60% of the fatty acids in those partially hydrogenated oils.
Wow, 60%. So, okay, if they have this potential downside, why did they get so popular? What was the appeal?
Well, for the food industry, it was almost a perfect storm, really. Low cost, they extend shelf life significantly. They can handle being heated over and over.
Good for frying them.
Exactly. Plus, they offer desirable properties like plasticity, think margarine, and emulsion stability.
Which explains why they ended up in, everything. Margarine, bakery products, loads of fried foods.
Absolutely. But now we're seeing this big shift, aren't we?
Definitely.
The whole perception is changing. The trend is really turning against seed oils, mainly because of these accumulating health concerns we're talking about, especially around the ITFAs.
And it became a global issue. Back in 2018, the World Health Organization, the WHO, launched its Replace Action Package. Their goal was huge. Eliminate these industrial trans fats from the global food supply by 2023.
And that wasn't just a suggestion.
No, the projections were massive, saving something like 17 million lives over 25 years.
And policy changes, they really work. Look at Denmark. They were pioneers, banned foods with the trans fats.
And what happened?
They saw nearly a 50% drop in coronary heart disease deaths over about 20 years. Quite dramatic.
50%? That's huge.
Yeah. And now many countries limit ITFAs, usually to around 2% of oils and fats. India, for example, hit that 2% limit back in 2022.
Okay, so the policy landscape has definitely shifted. Let's get to the core question then. Are seed oils toxic? Let's break down the claims. How about heart health first?
Right. So focusing specifically on those ITFAs, again, the evidence there is pretty strong. They're consistently associated with increasing your LDL, that's the bad cholesterol, and crucially decreasing your HDL, the good cholesterol.
Which directly increases your risk for coronary heart disease, right?
Precisely. There was a major meta-analysis, a study of studies, that found even a small, 2% increase in energy from trans fatty acids was linked to a 23% increase in CHD risk.
23% from just 2% more intake. Wow.
It's significant, but just to clarify, the natural trans fats from animals, the ruminant ones, they aren't really seen as a major risk, mostly because we just don't eat that much of them compared to the industrial ones.
Okay, that's clear on ITFAs and heart disease.
Right.
Now, what about inflammation? This is where it gets a bit more complex, maybe.
Yeah.
We often hear about omega-3s being anti-inflammatory.
Ah, yes. Well, prepare for a potential twist here. Some really interesting recent research using powerful methods like Mendelian randomization analyses.
Those genetic studies that help sort out cause and effect?
Exactly those. They're actually suggesting that total N3 PUFAs, the omega-3s, were linked with higher levels of certain inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein.
Higher, that goes against the common advice, doesn't it?
It certainly challenges the simple omega-3s are always anti-inflammatory idea. It's more nuanced than we thought.
But what about omega-6s? Like arachidonic acid or AA?
Well, that specific N6-PUFA, arachidonic acid, did show in some lab studies on human lung cells that it increased the release of inflammatory signals.
Okay.
Things like IL-6 and CXCL8. And it seemed to be dose-dependent, meaning more AA led to more inflammation, and it works synergistically with obesity-related inflammation, too.
Interesting. So AA specifically in that context.
Yes. And it's important to add that saturated fats and other N3s like EPA and DHA did not cause these same inflammatory responses in those particular lung cell experiments.
So connecting this broader picture, diets high in certain omega-6s might play a role in airway inflammation, maybe especially if someone is obese.
That's a potential connection researchers are looking at, yes. And there are other concerns too. There have been associations noted between higher ITFA intake and kids developing asthma or allergic eczema. Plus, ITFAs might interfere with how the body uses essential fatty acids, the ones really crucial for, say, nervous system development.
But it's not all negative, right? You mentioned soy earlier.
Right, yeah. Balance is key. Soy protein, for instance, has been shown to help decrease LDL and total cholesterol. And some animal studies suggest sunflower seed supplementation can improve fatty acid profiles. So it's not a simple good or bad.
Okay, so boiling it down, are there real consistent risks we should absolutely be aware of?
I'd say the most consistent, well-proven risks definitely come from those industrially produced trans fats, the ITFAs, their negative impact on heart health, the links to inflammation, allergies, that's pretty well established, and why they're being phased out.
So the takeaway is a bit more nuanced. While specific omega-6s like AA might show inflammatory effects in certain lab settings or conditions,
Yeah.
the overall picture for PUFAs generally is, well, complex. Research is ongoing. We're moving past just calling them all good or bad.
Absolutely. The single most critical thing for you, the listener, to grasp is that difference. Differentiate the industrial trans fats, generally harmful, being removed globally from other natural seed oils and PUFAs. Their effects are, well, more complicated and need a balanced view, not just outright fear.
So practical advice, check food labels. Look for partially hydrogenated oils. That's your signal to avoid ITFAs. And really try to focus on an overall balanced dietary pattern rather than, demonizing entire categories of oils, some of which might even be beneficial in moderation.
Couldn't agree more. It's about the whole picture.
Thanks for joining the Sense Check Lab, where we chase evidence, not opinions. If you found this useful, help us keep evidence-based conversations alive. Subscribe or follow on your podcast platform so you don't miss future episodes. Share this deep dive with a friend who could use a sense check. And if there's a health trend or claim that's buzzing in your group chat or showing up on your feed, send it our way. We love unpacking the science behind the hype. Until next time, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and stay curious.